Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nigamakalpatarorgalitam phalam Sugamakatamrita Drivasamritam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Mukharagorasika Bhagavakaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatyam Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudhirayet Krishnaprayesha Bhadresha Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki नाना शास्त्र विचारनैक निपुणौ सद्धर्म संस्थापकौ लोकानां हितकारिणौ त्रिभुवने मन्यो शरण्याकरौ राधा कृष्ण पदारविंद भजना नंदेन मत्तालिकौ वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगौ श्रीजीव गोपालकौ ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति सुपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुलंगायते कृपात्महं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं देवतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं कथाञ्चन स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् स्मृते प्रीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्यं नमामि तम्. Hare Krishna. So last week we were seeing that Gopakumar, he was not very happy with the Brahmana who was worshipping Shalagram. And then the Brahmana, he also reciprocated with the feelings of Gopakumar. And then he told him that I understand you want to see very opulent worship of the Lord. So he was saying that better that you go and meet the king. And by meeting the king, you can see very opulent worship there, because the king is actually a great devotee, and he's someone who likes to worship the Lord very nicely. So he said that if you go there, your desire to see nice worship of the Lord will be satisfied. And then then he said that, okay, so he said, I will go there. He was very happy to hear that. He said he decided to go there. He wanted to go and see what's happening. So this is where we are standing. We should continue from this point. There, different book. Let me get the right book. No. Sorry for the mix-up. I seem to have lost the book. Okay, here it is. Book is here. and table of contents. Is somewhere. Okay. Yes, we kind of got the place where we want to be. Okay, you can see the screen, hopefully. So 141, verse number 141, this is where we stopped. Tadvatanandito gatva shidito abhitadalayam tam pranamya tad uddishta vartamanatam purim agam. Delighted by the words of the Brahmana's words, I offered him my obeisance, and without stopping at his house, even though hungry, I set off to the capital by the road pointed by him. So, commentary. Gopakumar repeatedly prostrated himself before the Brahmana with great devotion. He did this partially to beg pardon for declining the Brahmana's invitation, and partially to beg blessings for an auspicious journey. I think we saw this last week. We also explained the importance of taking blessings, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took blessings from all the devotees, even though he is Supreme Lord, how Balaram also takes blessings from so many devotees when he wants to do yajna. Antapure devakule jagat isharchana dhvanim apurvam tumulam durak chutva pracham amum janan. Within the inner precincts of the city, from a distance, I heard the sound of temple worship of the Lord of the universe. I had never seen such a tumult, so I asked about it from the people nearby. So therefore, when he went, when he was nearing the capital city, he need not wait much because he could already start hearing the different sounds of temple worship. They could hear the different sounds of temple worship. And it was so tumultuous that it was very exciting that he wanted to actually hear, he wanted to ask from people that what's happening. He wanted to inquire from different people what's happening. Sometimes, even now, when you go to some religious cities where the temple is the center of the city, like for example, you go to Tirumala, or you go to Ahobilam, or you go to places like that, then as soon as you start entering the city, then you can actually start getting sounds of the temple worship, the different sounds of temple worship. When Mahaprabhu was there, and when Mahaprabhu started his Sankirtan movement, and Nityananda Prabhu was preaching in Bengal. So that time it is said that we could actually hear Sankirtan always in the different villages, different parties doing Sankirtan. In Mayapur, Prabhupada wanted about 7-8 parties to continuously do Sankirtan so that anyone who comes near ISKCON, they can immediately start hearing the holy name. So this is the very nature of that particular place, because the whole town or the whole capital city was centered around the temple, and then everyone was worshipping the Lord. Commentary: the noise Gopakumara heard came from the Lord's Aarti ceremony in the royal temple, where many devotees were chanting and playing musical instruments. The sound impressed Gopakumara very well. Vigyaya tatra jagadishwaram ikshutum tam kenapi avarita gati swajavam pravishya shankari pankaja gada vilasat karabjam srimak chaturbhujam apashyamaham samaksham. Learning that the Lord of the universe was being worshipped, I wanted to see him. As I approached, no one stopped me. So I quickly entered the temple, where in front of me I beheld the beautiful four-armed form of the Lord, his hands resplendent with a conch shell, disc, lotus, and club. Commentary. The guards of the temple, at the door of the temple, neither questioned Gopakumar nor blocked his entrance. So he eagerly ran inside, where he saw the deity of Vishnu, whose beauty and opulence more than fulfilled the Brahmana's predictions and Gopakumar's own expectations. The four arms of the Lord resembled the bodies of the mighty serpents. So this description actually reminds me of a very nice Vishnu temple, which is near my hometown. My hometown is Kumbakonam. It's in Tamil Nadu. And there is a very beautiful Vishnu temple near my hometown. And many Vishnu temples. There are about 24 Vishnu temples there. But one which is very near to my place is called Uppiliappan temple. Uppiliappan means one who does not have someone who is equal to him or someone who is above him. Asamurdhva. In Sanskrit, it is called Asamurdhva. In Tamil, it's called Uppiliappan. Say Upparum, Mikkarum, Illaga. So, Uppiliappan. And the deity is like this. Very beautiful deity. From my childhood, I have seen this deity. And the description is also more or less the same. That when you actually enter the temple, you can straight, because from the main entrance is a straight darshan to the deity. We can actually run all the way to the deity from the main entrance. Now it's a little bit more complicated, but previously it used to be like that. From when you enter the main entrance, the huge doors, and there's a front temple tower gopuram. You enter through that, and then you just run. On one side, there is the pond, the Pushkarni. It's called Ahoratra Pushkarni. It's a very special, because generally in temple pond you can only take bath in the daytime, but in that particular temple you can actually take bath in day and night. It's called Ahoratra Pushkarni. There's no restriction to take bath in the temple pond after sunset. Generally in temples it's not allowed. After sunset, it's not allowed to take bath, and only next day early morning you can take bath. It's like that. So the Lord there also is standing in 400 form. It's a very beautiful form, so tall. The Lord is considered as elder brother of Tirupati Balaji in the temple, and he came to marry Bhuma Devi. She was born as Lord Sage Agastya's daughter, and she was very young age. She was a very small girl, so he came to marry her. Anyway, so that's the pastime. But the temple is like that, very beautiful temple. Sarvanga Sundaratam Navamega Kantim Mukau Ausheya Pita Vasanam Vanamalayadam Sauvarna Bhushanam Avarnya Kishoramurtim Purnenduvaktram Amritasmitam Abjanetram. So this is very beautiful description of the Lord's form. All the parts of his body were exquisitely attractive, and his complexion resembled a new rain cloud. Words can hardly describe his youthful body, dressed in yellow silk, ornamented with gold and garlanded with flowerless flowers that increased his beauty. His face, with its sweet nectarian smile and lotus-like eyes, appeared like the full moon. Commentary. In the beginning, from his eyes, mouth, every part of Vishnu's body was enchanting. Gopakumar could only compare his beauty to that of most beautiful things he knew: the rain cloud, the moon, the lotus flowers. So sometimes we tend to compare the beauty of the Lord to the worldly beauties which we know, like here. This is explained here, that how the Lord's body was like a rain cloud, how he's like a lotus flower, etc. But the Lord's beauty is far more compared to all these comparisons, because these comparisons simply give us an idea of the beauty, but the actual beauty of the Lord is much more. So therefore, the Lord is called as Nayanabhirama. Nayanabhirama means that one who gives unlimited pleasure to the eyes. So when we see the Archa Vigraha form, then the eyes are fully satisfied because the Archa Vigraha form is nicely, beautifully decorated. And by seeing that form, the eyes become totally satisfied. Sampujitam vivida durlabha vastu vargai sevanushkata paricharaka vrinda justam nityadikam chapurato nubhavantam marat tishtantam asanavare su prachadaugam. While many attendants, fondly attached to serving him, worshipped him with various rare items, he stood on an excellent throne and from a distance watched the dancing and other entertainments presented before him. Every sort of wonderful paraphernalia was being engaged for his pleasure. Commentary. As the most precious item to be found were presented to the Lord one after other, his personal attendants waved chamara fan intently and offered him betel nut and other refreshments. In the midst of all this, instead of coming forward to meet the crowd, he stood on his throne and acknowledged the entertainment going on further away by watching with his unblinking eyes. Animisha, unblinking eyes, Lord has. So, the Lord is being offered various paraphernalia. This is common in deity worship, especially when you go to places like which are places which are managed by Sri Sampradaya, then they have very elaborate deity worship. They have a very long and very elaborate system of deity worship. They offer various things. Like once I went to Srirangam and I was seeing the worship which is offered to Ranganayaki, Lakshmi Devi. They are offering worship to her. She is the consort of the Lord, of Lord Sriranga. She is the consort. And then they were offering her various types of worship. It was so elaborate. They will offer one worship, one article after another article, and then then in between they will come and chant various mantras. Then various Brahmanas will come and present various parts of the Vedas, recite various parts of the Vedas, glorifying her. Then again various offerings. Almost 3-4 hours this offering was going on. And finally, when they wanted to retire the deity, then they were carrying the deity, and there were a set of people, Brahmanas, who were very expert players of Veena. So they were lining up in front of the deity as the carriers of the deity. They were carrying the deity to the sanctum from the festival mandap where the deity was placed. So then these Brahmanas, they were actually lining up on both sides of the deity with Veena in their hand, and they were all playing the Veena, and they were slowly walking with dancing movements in front of the deity. And after some time, in very nice sweet voice, they started singing some beautiful songs about the pastimes of the Lord. And then the deity was watching all this. She was hearing the music, she was watching all these things, and then slowly, they took the deity in procession, and then she entered the main sanctum. So this way, in front of the deity, here also, we see that so many things are happening, so many different type of paraphernalia being offered, and then so many things are happening. So, Paramananda Purnoham Paramam Daddavan Muhu Vichantayam Idam Swasya Pashyam Adya Dikshitam. Filled with supreme bliss, I repeatedly fell flat on the ground. Today, I thought I have seen what I always wanted to see. So he was very happy because he saw such a elaborate worship, and he was thinking, oh, this is it. This is what I was wanting to see all these days. And now I have seen this. So he was extremely happy. Samprapto janma sapalyam na gamishyami atakvachit Vaishnavanam cha kripaya tatraiva niyavasam sukham. So now my life is success. I shall never go away from this place. And so, by the mercy of Vaishnavas, I began to live there happily. Commentary. Gopakumar had left his family and friends to wander in search of his worshipable Lord, and now had found him. Although as a penniless beggar from foreign country, Gopakumar could hardly expect to be allowed to stay in the neighborhood of a royal palace and dine on the remnants of the king's deity. But the local Vaishnavas were kind to him. They brought him Mahaprasad and did everything possible to encourage and protect him. So this is what Prabhupada wanted for Mayapur. Prabhupada wanted the whole world to come to Mayapur and everyone to be taken care very nicely. And not only for Mayapur, for every ISKCON temple, Prabhupada wanted this. Prabhupada wanted that when someone comes to worship the deity, they are received very nicely in a very personal way. And some preaching is done to them. They get some Mahaprasad, and then they get some opportunity to buy some Prabhupada books or read some Prabhupada books. And this way, they get a wholesome experience when they come to take darshan of the deity. So Prabhupada wanted such experience to be given, so that people coming into the ISKCON temple or ISKCON center, they actually get attracted. Actually get attracted to Krishna. So this is Vaishnava culture, that anybody who comes, then they get some prasad. They are well taken care. They are spoken to well. Sometimes you go to any temple, sometimes like that also. You can always get some prasad. Many times I have gone to different temples, and then somehow or other we always end up getting some nice prasad there. You just eat prasad, worship the deity, then be happy. Punjano Vishnu Naivedyam Pashyan Puja Mahotsavam. Shravan Puja Di Mahatmyam Yatnan Mantram Raho Japan. I would eat the remnants of the food offered to Vishnu, witness great festivals of his worship, hear the glories of his worship and more, all the while carefully chanting my mantra in private. This is very important. It's very, very important. Commentary. While reciting with the Vaishnavas who serve the deity of Lord Vishnu, Gopakumar heard from them the glories of Vishnu, as described in various Puranas and other scriptures. He heard that worshipping Vishnu is the highest activity for human beings. He heard specific instructions about various aspects of his worship. He also heard about the glories of Vishnu Prasada, Shadbir Maso Pavasistu Yat Phalam Parikirtitam Vishnur Naivedya Shikthanam Bhunjatam Tat Kalau Yuge. All the benefits ascribed to the vow of fasting for 6 months are gained in Kali Yuga by those who eat food mixed with the remnants of Lord Vishnu. Oh, this is very good. I didn't know this. That's very nice. So when we eat prasad, then we get the benefit of fasting of 6 months. So excellent. So from all these instructions, however, Gopakumar did not receive complete systematic spiritual education. No one told him, for example, about such basic matters as the existence of higher planets like Swarga of Lord Indra. The Vaishnavas were unaware that Gopakumar despite his saintly qualities, never had any training. Thus, he remained naive about the complexities of the material world. Yes, this comment is very important because that naivety is going to take him through this long journey of Gopakumar, because he is not aware of various things. So, nor was anyone aware that Gopakumar does not have a formal training. He just got some mantra and he did not get any explanation. But Gopakumar kept chanting that mantra. This is very important. Even though he did not get any training, but he was very faithful to his spiritual master who gave him the mantra, and he kept chanting that mantra. And that mantra is actually taking him from one place to another. So if you also chant our mantra very sincerely while going through various duties, so that mantra will also take us back. Asyastu vraja bhume sri gopa krida sukam chatar kadachit api me brahman hridayan napa sarpati. Yet my heart, O Brahmana, never forgot the beauty of this Vrajabhumi and the joy of playing here as a cowherd. Commentary. Gopakumar had indelible recollections of Rajadhama, far from just being sentimental, were a sign that by chanting his mantra, he was reaping transcendental results. Public opulence of Vishnu's worship did not attract him more than the simple happiness of wandering about in the fields of Braja. While sleeping or awake, he could not forget Braja. Even while taking part in Lord Vishnu's festival, thoughts of Rajabhumi lingered in his mind. This is what happens to a devotee who is attracted to Krishna. He may see many different types of worship, which is offered in various types of opulence to the Vishnu deity, but he always ends up thinking of Krishna. We can see the similar thing described in third canto in Bhagavatam, when there is a description about Vidura's pilgrimage. So when Vidura was thrown out of Duryodhana, thrown out of the palace by Duryodhana, Vidura felt very happy that Duryodhana actually had insulted him, and because it had given him a perfect excuse to walk away from Kurukshetra war, because he was never in favor of that war. He was never in favor of fighting with Pandavas. So he wanted, at the same time, because he is the minister, therefore he is obliged to fight the war at the side of his elder brother, Dhritarashtra. So at one point, when Dhritarashtra called him just before the war, and he was asking him how to avoid this war, then he gave a very frank advice. He said, throw your son out and all problem will be solved. But Duryodhana, of course, did not like that advice. So therefore, Duryodhana, he very heavily criticized and insulted Vidura. He told in front of everyone in the assembly, he told, who asked this person to come? Who asked this person to come? He doesn't know how to talk. He is always favoring our enemies. And this person, he has no right to talk because he is the son of the kept wife of my grandfather. So he was very very disrespectful to Vidura. And then he told, throw this guy out from the palace and beat him in such a way that only life hair remains in him. This is the order he placed in front of everybody. When Vidura spoke for on Dhritarashtra's request, he had come to the assembly, and then when he spoke. So when such strong insulting words were spoken, then Vidura was very happy because he saw how Yogamaya is acting in his favor, and he wanted an exit, and then he has been given that exit by the harsh words of Duryodhana. So therefore he happily exited, and then the question comes that if he exited, then why did he not directly go to Krishna? He could have directly gone to Krishna because Krishna was there. He could have directly gone to Krishna. Why he did not directly go to Krishna? Because Vidra felt disqualified to approach Krishna directly. He thought that he had become contaminated due to the sinful association, long sinful association of the Kauravas, because he was always with his brother and he was giving him various type of political advice on what should do, what he should do, and what he should not do. Of course, his brother never listened to his political advice. He was always interested in usurping the kingdom from the Pandavas. So, so Vidura, so he felt very happy that he has been thrown out. And then he went on pilgrimage without going to Krishna. So why? Because he thought that he has been with Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra for such long time that because that effect of that bad association has come on him. He was thinking like that. He was thinking like that. The effect of that bad association has come on him. And he was also thinking that because he was with sinful people, then he might also committed some sin. So he thought that he is unfit to approach Krishna. So therefore, to purify himself, he actually went for pilgrimage. And there is elaborate description of Vidura's pilgrimage, where all he went, what kind of deity he saw. There's a whole elaborate description of that. But the most interesting part is that in the end of all that description, then Sukadeva Goswami or Maitreya Muni simply says that he saw many deities, but in all those deities, he simply saw Krishna only. He did not see the particular deity. He simply saw Krishna because his mind was completely attracted by Krishna. So same way here, even though Gopakumar, he saw so much of worship and he was very, very happy. He was staying there itself. He did not go out. But heart in heart, in all those deities, he simply saw Brajendranandan. So, so this way, he was staying there for some time. Evam dinani katichit sanandam tatra tishtataha tadrik puja vidhane me parama lalasajani. Remaining thus for some days in that place, I developed great eagerness to engage in that method of worship. So one side he is attached to Vrindavan. He can never forget Vrindavan. Other side, he is also liking what he is seeing, this elaborate method of worshipping Vishnu. Gopakumar was eager to reciprocate in a personal way with the Lord of the universe. The opulent worship of Vishnu's temple seemed such a way. Ata putrasya raja mam vaideshikam api priyat sushilam vikshya putratve Parikalpaya Chiran Mrutaha. The king of that country was sonless. Despite my being a foreigner, he noted my good character and developed affection for me. But soon after finally adopting me as his son, he died. So this way, Gopakumar became the king. Maya chalabdva tadrajyam Vishnu puja mudadikha pravartita tad annaischa bhojayante sadhavonvaham. After inheriting his kingdom, I made even more elaborate and joyful worship of Lord Vishnu. Every day, saintly persons were fed with remnants of food from this worship. The simple soul that he was, Gopakumar accepted that his material elevation as a chance to increase his devotional service. As king, he saw to it that Lord Vishnu's worship was improved and the Lord's mercy was distributed as widely as possible. So Prabhupada also same. He wanted nobody should go hungry within 10-mile radius of ISKCON temple. So we find that most of the world is covered in the 10-mile radius. Of course, there may be many areas which is not covered, but in general. So he saw that Vishnu worship was performed very nicely, and the remnants of food was distributed to people far and wide. So now he has become the king. So he is actually took the chance of the opulence to engage in devotional service. This is very important. It's very important point to note that sometimes we are actually living a certain lifestyle, and then we may sometimes get some windfall opulence. It's possible that we may get some windfall opulence. And when that opulence comes, then immediately we should actually spend it on Krishna's service. We should spend it on Krishna's service. We should not spend it on Maya's service. Maya might tell us so many things. Oh, you spend this money like this or like this. And Maya will also tell us, oh, this is all for devotees only. This is not sense gratification. You buy a nice Mercedes car. Don't think it is sense gratification. That is for devotees only. When big sannyasis come, they will want Mercedes car. So you can take Mercedes car and you can bring those big sannyasis to the venue, to the lecture venue or temple venue. Sometimes we may think like that. That we may get carried away by the opulence. Here, Gopakumar was not carried away by the opulence because he was well renounced, and his only idea was to utilize the opulence for the Lord's service. So therefore, that's what Gopakumar did. Swayam chak kvachit asaktim akritva purvavat vasan japam nirvihayan bunje prasadannam prabho param. And I was always unattached to royal opulence. I continued to live just as before. I quietly chanted my mantra, yet only the remnants of the food left by the Lord as his mercy. Commentary. Gopakumar's mantra protected him from being corrupted by loyal power. Thus, he was undistracted by the sovereignty and wealth. Retaining his unassuming simplicity, he went on chanting his mantra, satisfying with purification that his senses enjoyed from honoring from Lord Vishnu's prasada. So Gopakumar was very detached from the royal opulence. This is very important. This is the guiding principle of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. That utilize everything in Krishna's service without any attachment. It's called Yukta So Rupa Goswami has explained, Anasaktascha Vishayan Yatarham Upayinjataha Nirbandho Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Mutyate. Anasaktascha Vishayan means that one should not be attached to anything. It's called Anasaktascha Vishayan. Then Yatarham Upayinjataha. Whatever we get as facility, we should simply utilize that facility 100% in Krishna's service. We should not see that facility as some sort of license for our sense gratification, and then bring Krishna as part of that sense gratification, thinking that, oh, now I am very Krishna conscious. It should not be like that. We want to enjoy what we want to enjoy, but we want to include Krishna in that. Of course, this is better than not including Krishna in that and simply enjoying without any gratitude or without including Krishna. This is much better, but this is not considered as high-class devotional service. It's not considered as high-class devotional service. When we simply include Krishna in our sense gratification. So, in his essay called Bhakti Aloka, under the title Janasangha, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is discussing this. So he has classified Janasangha into various types. And one of the type of Janasangha is those devotees who actually include Krishna in their sense gratification. We're not supposed to be like that. We're not supposed to be people who actually include Krishna in our sense gratification. So we should give up everything in Krishna's service. We should not be attached to anything. Anasaktascha Vishayan. Yatarham Upayinjataha. Everything should be utilized in a manner that it is actually utilized to please Vishnu. Yatarham Upayinjataha. Nirbandha. While utilizing various things, we should not get attached to them also. Krishna Sambandhe. Always we should see Krishna's connection in everything around us. Yukta Mairagya Muchate. So this is the key of how to properly utilize everything. Like Prabhupada says that some sannyasis don't want to touch money with their hand. But as far as I am concerned, I am ready to take the whole money of the world because I know how to utilize it in Krishna's service. This is very important. That Gopakumar, even though he got so much of kingly opulence, which he did not expect, unexpectedly that kingly opulence came to him, and then he can actually forget himself and he can do so many things. Rather, his mood was that whatever has come to me has come to me for the worship of Vishnu, so I should simply utilize it for his worship. Jnartat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. So who protected Gopakumar from getting this contamination in heart while dealing with so much of material energy? That is the mantra which he chanted, and Srimati Radharani, they actually protected Gopakumar. This will be clear later. Rajno asya parivarebhyah pradam rajyam vibhajyatat tatapi rajya sambandhat dukkam me bahudod bhavet. I divided the affairs of the kingdom and handed them over to the relatives and the entourage of the deceased king. But still I suffered various ways due to my connection with the kingdom. The moment we take up some responsible service, then we have to go through some challenge. So being a king is a very responsible service. It's not a simple service. So he had taken that service, and then he did not keep all the powers with him. So he had widely delegated the powers, but still, instead of, even though he widely delegated the powers, still because he was the king, still many things were coming to him, and he was very disturbed by it. Very disturbed by it. So this is the problem. This is the problem of this material world. In this material world, we may think that when I go to a better position, I'll be able to do devotional service better. We may think like that. We may think that when I go to materially a better position, then I will do my devotional service much better. Right now, my material position is so bad that I am not able to do my devotional service nicely. The moment my material situation improves to much better way, then I will do much better devotional service. This is like a big misconception. Because in Bhagavatam, it is very clearly said, Savai pumsam parodharmo eto bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihata yatma suprasidati. That devotional service is not subject to any material condition. It cannot be stopped by any material condition. And it does not have any material motive also. Ahaituki and apratihata. Yatma suprasidati. Such devotional service will satisfy the self. But then we find that there are so many impediments and one can get disturbed. One can get disturbed. So even though he was utilizing everything in Krishna's service, but still the kingdom itself is becoming a source of so many different type of disturbances. Commentary. To avoid being blamed for neglecting the kingdom while absorbed in private meditation, Gopakumar delegated the practical affairs of ruling to the previous king's friends, ministers, in-laws, and immediate family. He gave them authority to make day-to-day decisions. Nonetheless, various anxieties connected with the kingdom continued to be thrust upon him. So a crisis gradually arose. Discriminating Vaishnavas may better off uninvolved in the management of kingdoms. So, Gopipandra Prabhu has made a very important comment that politics is not for Vaishnavas. Ruling a kingdom, ruling a country is not for Vaishnavas. Even when we have to manage a small community in Mayapur, we see how many different types of problems we face. This is hardly a community of about 5,000 people or 6,000 people. Of course, they are from different countries, about 78 plus countries. So it is not so easy to manage because everybody's expectation is different. And to some extent, everybody's thought process is different. To some extent, their societal values are also different. So anything to do with the management of a large amount of people is always a problem. It's always very problematic. Today morning, my spiritual master, Vidvan Swami Maharaj, he was giving class in Mayapur, and he was actually quoting a previous class of His Holiness Sivarama Swami Maharaj, where he had actually made a remark that managers in ISKCON, they are always under tension, and therefore they are always victim of high BP, high blood pressure. He had made this remark. So today morning, His Holiness Japtak Swami Maharaj was recollecting that remark, and he was saying that management means so many problems, and management means high BP. He was saying. So same thing was happening to Gopakumar also. He was also getting high BP. Kadapi pararashtradbhi kadachik chakravartinaha vividha desha sandoha palanena asvatantrata. Sometimes I feared neighboring kingdoms, at other times the emperor. Having to obey his various and abundant commands stifled my freedom. Every king has his enemies, including the unhappy citizens of his own state, as well as the rulers of rival kingdoms. If he is the vassals of a greater king, he must follow the overlord's whims and cannot act independently. Gopakumar felt these anxieties. So therefore, naturally, the various aspects of ruling the kingdom was becoming a big headache, because different rival kings were plotting against the kingdom, or the emperor or the Chakravarti. He was placing some orders on the smaller kings. So this way, there were different topics and different problems which actually stifled him. Jagadishwara Naivetyam Spashtam Anyena Kenachit Nitam Bahirva Sandigdo Nabhungte Kopi Sajjanaha. If the Supreme Lord's remnants were touched by an outsider or carried outside the temple, or if for any other reason a doubt arose about the purity of the remnants, no respectable person would eat them. Commentary. Gopakumar certainly should have tolerated any trouble arising from serving the Lord, but the serious obstruction that appeared in Gopakumar's devotional service provoked him much more than the petty complications of royal politics. The Brahmanas of the region were very strict about the food they accepted. They would not accept Lord Vishnu's prasada if it had been touched by anyone other than the appointed servants of the deity or taken outside the sacred area of the temple. These Brahmanas cited the traditions of cultured behavior as evidence to support their scruples, and their predecessors had never accepted prasada that had in these ways been contaminated. Real Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, however, become unhappy to see such behavior. For them, it is very difficult to live in a place where such disrespect for the Supreme Lord's prasada is promoted. Furthermore, their opinion on this matter is supported in the scriptures such as Brihat Vishnu Purana, Naivedyam Jagadishya, Annapanadikam Chayat, Bhakshya Vicharastu, Nasti Tat Bhakshane Dvija, Brahmavan Nirvikaram Hi, Yatha Vishnus Tataivatat, Vicharam Ye Prakurvanti, Bhakshne tat dvijatayah Shuta Vyadi Samayukta Putra Dhara Vivarjitaha Nirayam Yanti Te Vipra Yasman Navartate Punaha. O twice born, one should never question whether the remnants of the food and the drink offered to the Lord of the universe are fit or unfit to eat. One should never make such distinction. The prasada of the Lord is incorruptible as Vedic mantras and Vishnu himself. Those who consider whether the Lord's prasad is eatable or uneatable will suffer leprosy. They will lose their children and wives, O Brahmana, and go to hell and never to return. Oh, very strong words. So, after Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the next day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually took some remnants of the Supreme Lord Jagannath early in the morning, and he went to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was that time sleeping, and the moment his wife saw that the Lord had appeared, then immediately she went and woke him up, saying that, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. Please get up, please get up. Then immediately he got up. Immediately he got up because he was very happy that the Supreme Lord has come in search of him. So immediately he got up. And what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, he gave him some remnants of Jagannath Prasad. And what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya did, he immediately ate that prasad without waiting for anything. He had just got up, he had not done his morning duties, he had not brushed his teeth, he had not taken bath, but without going through any of these purificatory activities, he ate the prasad. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was laughing, and then he asked Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, oh Bhattacharya, what happened to you? You are strict followers of rules and regulation. How come you are eating this Vishnu Prasad, Jagannath Prasad, without even caring for the formality of brushing teeth or taking bath or cleaning yourself? What is this? He asked. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied that Jagannath Prasad is so precious that at any condition when it is offered, immediately one should honor it, irrespective of whatever is the condition. One cannot make Jagannath Prasad wait. One cannot make Mahaprasad wait. Immediately one should honor it, irrespective of whatever condition he is in. So he said that, and then he was very blissful having Prasad. And then Mahaprabhu was also very blissful, seeing that level of transformation which he had gone through. So therefore, Prasad should not be seen as what is eatable, what is not eatable, and all those things. It should be honored. That is the duty. But these Brahmanas, somehow they misunderstood. And they were very particular about what they will eat and what they will not eat. And sometimes they rejected Vishnu Prasad. And that could not be tolerated by Gopakumar. Marmashalyena chaitena nirvedo me mahanabhut nesa didikshitam sakshat praptam tyaktum chatat prabhum. Such darts shot into my vital points and made me want to give everything up. But I had no desire to leave the Lord, whom I had long hankered to see and whose personal contact I had now obtained. Commentary. To see the leaders of the society refusing Vishnu's prasad was more painful to Gopakumar than the wounds of the well-aimed arrows. One who cuts at a major juncture of subtle channels carrying prana feels excruciating pain. But the pain of having to watch and tolerate such aparadhas in the service of the Lord was far more painful to Gopakumar than such a wound. He lost whatever enthusiasm he had for continuing his involvement in ruling the kingdom, and he could not leave Lord Vishnu. So this is what happens when a devotee becomes so attached to Krishna, then he becomes disinterested in the material world. He becomes disinterested in the happenings of the material world. He becomes disinterested with the comforts. He becomes disinterested with the sense gratification. He becomes disinterested in all these things. He becomes niskinchana or akinchana. Nishkinchana or akinchana. One who does not possess anything, or one who is not attached to any of his possessions. He may possess things, but he is not attached to any of his possessions. So therefore, he was no longer interested in ruling the kingdom. But somehow or other he had to go. Ye tasmin yeva samaye tatra dakshina deshatah samagatai sadhu varai katitam tarkitairidam tairtikairidam katitam tairtikairidam. Just then, some venerable saints from south arrived on pilgrimage and told me this. Commentary. The saintly pilgrims were Vaishnavas from Jagannath Puri. For a while, they had left that holy dham to see Lord Vishnu's deities and devotees everywhere else, mostly in the various tirthas. So, now he is hearing about Lord Jagannath. Daru Brahma Jagannatho Bhagavan Purushottame Kshetre Nilachale Kshara Rinava Tiriva Virajate. At the Purushottama Kshetra, on the blue mountain, on the shore of salt ocean, Jagannath, Lord of Universe, the personality of Godhead, is present as absolute truth, manifest in the wood. Commentary. Within the holy Dhama called Purushottama, on the shore of the salt ocean, is a district called Nilachala. There, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present as Jagannatha. He is called Daru Brahma because he is the absolute truth in wood, Daru. And because he destroys Dharanath, the miseries of the material existence. He is described in a number of Puranas, for example, in Padma Purana. Samudrasyottare tire aste Shri Purushottame Purananda Mayam Brahma Purnananda Mayam Brahma Darubhyaja Sarirabhrit. At Sri Purushottama, on the northern shore of the ocean, resides the Supreme Absolute Truth. Full of perfect ecstasy, he has assumed a transcendental body that appears wooden. In Brihat Vishnu Purana, Niladrau Chotkale Deshe Kshetre Shri Purushottame Daruni Aste Chidanando Jagannathakhya. In the land of Orissa, on the blue mountain at Purushottama Kshetra, the ecstatic all spiritual Lord is present in wood in his form known as Jagannatha. So, various scriptural evidence is there about the presence of the Lord and also the place itself. Mahavibhutiman Rajyam Autkalam Palayan Swayam Vyanjyan Nija Mahatmyam Sada Sevakavat Salaha. With infinite opulence, the Lord himself rules the kingdom of Utkala. He displays his unique glories and always takes affectionate care of his devotees. Commentary. Utkala is another name of Orissa. Lord Jagannath himself rules this kingdom by issuing various commands and guidelines for the citizens' conduct of business and personal affairs. The Tattvayamala states, Bharate Chotkale Deshe Bhuswarge Purushottame Darurupi Jagannatho Bhaktanam Abhaya Pradaha Naracheshtam Upadaya Aste Mokshaika Karakaha. In the Utkala kingdom in Bharatavarsha lies the earthly heaven of Purushottama. There, Lord Jagannath appears in wooden form, taking up human-like activities. He bestows fearlessness upon his devotees. He is the only giver of liberation. Lord Jagannath displays his own glories, such as his kind compassion on unfortunate souls, especially affectionate to his servants. He never takes their offense seriously. Tasyannam pachitam lakshmiya swayam bhuktva dayaluna dattam tena swabhaktebhyo labhyate deva durlabham. Further glories of Lord Jagannath. After eating food cooked for him by his consort Lakshmi, the all-merciful Lord distributes to his devotees his own remnants, which are available in Nilachal, even though by demigods, they are rarely obtained. Commentary. The remnants of food from the plate of Lord Vishnu is extremely difficult to obtain. But in Nilachal, after Goddess Lakshmi personally cooks for Lord Jagannath, the Lord eats each preparation and then freely distributes his remnants to his devotees. Being all merciful, Lord Jagannath sees to it himself that all his devotees obtain his prasada. When everything is cooked for the Lord and is offered before him in many clay pots, sometimes he eats only a little of each preparation, and sometimes he eats everything and then miraculously refills the pot. So these are all some glorious activities of Lord Jagannath. How difficult is obtaining prasad. So the facility to offer prasad and the facility to honor prasad, these are not simple facilities. It is very rarely obtained. Therefore, when Prabhupada discusses about the austerities of Dhruva, Prabhupada makes this very interesting statement. Prabhupada says that we cannot do austerities like Dhruva, obviously. Yes, we cannot do. But then Prabhupada says, what are the austerities he wants all the ISKCON members to do? He says that we should chant 16 rounds, we should follow 4 regulative principles, and then we should honor Krishna Prasad. So Prabhupada actually considered this as essential austerity, that we should take only Krishna Prasad. So this is mentioned by Prabhupada in the 4th canto. So therefore, the Lord he is always eating, and he is distributing it very nicely, all prasad, to his devotees. Mahaprasad samgyam cha tat sparshtam yena kenachit yadda kutrapi vanitam avicharena bhujyate. That food is called his Mahaprasad. Be it touched by anyone or brought anywhere, without discriminating, the devotees eat it, without any discrimination. One should honor Jagannath Mahaprasad. Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannath is unique because it has been touched by his nectarian lips. It is never be contaminated. Even if touched by an unseen or untouchable person or carried to an unclean place, no decent person ever refuses to eat Lord Jagannath's Mahaprasad or complain that it might not be pure or the time is improper to accept it. It is said, Yadannam pachayet Lakshmi bhokta cha purushottama sprashta prashtam na mantavyam yatha vishnus tataiva tat. The food that Lakshmi cooks and Lord Purushottama eats should be accepted without consideration of being touched or untouched by anyone. It is as pure as Lord Vishnu himself. The Skanda Purana Vaishnava Kanda 2.36.16 adds, Chirastam api samshukam nitam va dura deshataha yatha yato pabhungtam sat sarva papo nadodanam. Even if Lord Jagannath's prasada is completely dried up from sitting for a long time or has been carried to a far distant place, if eaten in the proper spirit, it will surely drive away all one's sins. No more glories of prasad. According to Bhavishya Puran, Antyavarne Hina Varne Sankara Prabhavairapi Sparshtam Jagatpate Rannam Bhunktam Sarvaganashanam. Even if the food is eaten by the Lord of the universe, has been touched by outcasts or by those with no caste or born in mixed caste, still it has the power to destroy all sins. In the words of Tattvayamala, Nasti tatraiva rajendra spashta prashta vivechanam yasya samprashta matrena gyanti amedaya pavitratam. O best of kings, one should never be concerned whether someone has touched Lord Jagannath's prasad. If persons unfit to take part in the Vedic sanctions simply touch this prasad, they will become completely sanctified. Now we know that how powerful is Jagannath prasad. According to Garuda Purana, na kalaniyamo vipra varte chandrayena yatha prapta matrena bhunjita yadichan mokshamatmanaha. O Brahmana, there is no restriction about when to accept this prasad, as they are in the observance of vows like Chandrayana. Whenever one receives Jagannath's prasad, one should eat it at once if one wants to attain liberation of the soul. So we have seen elaborate glorification of the prasad of Lord Jagannath in the purport by here. So, therefore, we should, the moment we see Jagannath prasad, immediately we should honor it. That is the point, that all these different shlokas, which is nicely brought together in the purport by His Grace Gopi Parandan Prabhu. This is actually teaching us that we should immediately honor Jagannath prasad. We should not wait at all. We should not think, okay, somebody brought Jagannath prasad, okay, let us keep it and then let us eat it later. No question. At least we should take a small amount, immediately honor. We should immediately honor. Because to get Jagannath prasad is very, very rare. It's not so easy. It's very, very rare. Aho tat kshetra mahatmyam gardabo api chaturbujaha yatra pravesha matrena nakashyapi punarbhavaha. Oh, that holy kshetra is so great that even donkeys living there have 4 arms. Anyone who simply enters the district will never take birth again. Some may doubt that the claim that Jagannath prasad is so special. Those doubters should be informed that Lord Jagannath's abode is even more special. Even lowly animals like donkeys who live there are 4-armed, for they have automatically achieved the perfection of Sarupya, having the bodily features just like the Lord. This is stated by the Lord Brahma in Brahma Purana. Aho kshetrasya mahatmyam samantat dasayojanam dvista yatra pashyanti sarvan eva chaturbhujaha. Just see how great is this holy abode. The demigods in heaven see that in this kshetra, for 10 yojanas on all sides, everyone has 4 arms. Vedavyas said in Garuda Purana, yatra stita jana sarve sanka chakrabjapanayah drishyante dividevamscha mohayanti muhurmuhu. Everyone living there appears with hands holding conchal disc and lotus. The demigods in the heaven are constantly bewildered to see this. Even we see that when the Vishnudutas came to save Ajamila, they were also having 4 hands and they were also carrying all this paraphernalia. Sri Narada said in Bhavarcha Prashishta, Chaturbhujajjana sarve drishyante yannivasinaha. All residents there are seen to have 4 arms. Furthermore, simply by setting foot in Purushottama Kshetra, any living being coming from anywhere is freed from having to take another birth. This is confirmed by Vedavyas in the same Bhagavatamrita Prashishta. Sparshanat eva tat kshetram nrinam mukti pradayakam yatra sakshat param brahma bhati daravali laya api janma shatai sagreir duritachara tatparaha kshetresmin sangamatrena jayate vishnuna saha. The holy kshetra, where the supreme truth is present in his pastimes of having the wooden form, bestows liberation upon all men who simply touch it. Even if someone has been dedicated to sinful behavior for many hundreds of lives, by merely coming into contact with this Kshetra, he will take birth in the company of Lord Vishnu. So, very nice glorification of the Sri Kshetra. He is the Jagannath Puri is very nicely glorified with various glorifications, and also the Mahaprasad there has been glorified. And Gopakumar is hearing all this. Prafulla Pundarikakshe tasmin ikshvati janaha phalam syat evam ashrausam ascharyam purvam ashrutam. A mere glimpse of him whose eyes are like lotuses in full bloom grants the ultimate goal of life. Such wonders I heard, but I had never heard before. Commentary. The personality of Godhead may be visible elsewhere in other deity forms, as indeed on the shore of Ganga, in the kingdom where Gopakumar was living now. But the beauty of Lord Jagannath is unique. So exquisitely charming is his beauty that by serving him merely once, one feels relief from all miseries. That a glimpse of Lord Jagannath is enough to perfect one's life is stated by Sri Narada in his talks with Prahlad in Padma Purana. Shravanadyair upairya katanchit drishyate maha niladrishikare bhati sarva chakshusha gocharaha tamyeva paramatmanam ye prapashyanti manavaha te yanti bhavanam Vishnu kim punar ye bhavat ashraha. The glories of the Lord, which are partially perceived by methods like hearing, are openly visible on the peak of the Blue Mountain. Any human being who sees the Supreme Being will go to the abode of Vishnu. What to speak of great soul like you? As Gopakumar heard from his visitors these glories of Purushottama Kshetra and more, wonder rose in his heart because he had never heard anything like them before. Although in the form of the Lord that Gopakumar was worshipping was the same personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Jagannatha is the origin of all such incarnations of all the temples. From seeing the source of all incarnations, especially at the exceptional palace at Purushottama Kshetra, one can get great benefit after seeing a mere incarnation. Greater benefit than from seeing a mere incarnation. Gopakumar had not heard such facts about the Lord in all the days he had been worshipping Lord Vishnu on the shore of Ganga, nor had he developed firm attachment to worshipping the Lord's deity. That this was the combined influence of his divine spiritual master and the divine personality of Godhead will be explained more clearly later in this narration. We shall see how Gopakumar's guru and Gopakumar's worship of Lord continually exert their influence on him, on his step-by-step spiritual progress. So we are also progressing step by step. So the Lord is also helping us step by step in order to progress. Just like Gopakumar is very sincere in his desires, but he also faces many impediments. So facing impediments in bhakti is not a big deal. It will always come. Everybody will face impediments. I am actually teaching Bhakti Vaibhav to some students in Mayapur here. There, we are actually in the third canto discussing about Lord Brahma's prayers. Lord Brahma offers wonderful prayers to Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu gives him so many different types of benedictions. He assures that he will be very successful, and he says, whatever benediction you have asked for is already given to you. So many different nice things he says. Then we are thinking, oh, now Brahma is going to have a very cool time in actually making the creation. No, he doesn't have a cool time. The Lord, he disappears, then he has to undergo austerity again, and he undergoes austerity, and then he starts creation. He creates the four Kumaras, and then he asks the four Kumaras to get married and create progeny. They refused. They said, no, we don't do it. We just remain children. We don't want to get into this whole samsara. We are not interested. Then Brahma becomes angry, and from that anger, Rudra comes, and he tells Rudra, okay, you get married, you have children. Rudra says, yes, yes, yes. And then he has children, and the children start destroying the whole creation in the very beginning of creation. Then Brahma has to say, Rudra, okay, Rudra, please stop all this. Please take your people and then go and do some penance. So the great Brahma, who had actually directly seen the Supreme Lord, he had so many impediments. He had so many impediments in executing his devotional service. He had so many impediments. Even in the beginning itself, from step one, he had impediment. So therefore, we should not expect that when we practice devotional service, there will be no impediment. There will be so many different impediments. But if we very firmly have our faith in Guru and Krishna, if we chant our mantra properly, just like the Gopakumar's Guru and Gopakumar's mantra, they're actually exerting spiritual influence, and it is giving them step-by-step spiritual progress. We will also feel the same thing. We will also feel the same spiritual progress in spite of so many impediments in our life. Okay, we have about 10 minutes. If somebody has some comment which they want to make, or if they are feeling that they should ask a question. So this is the time. You want to ask a question or you want to make a comment, you have opportunity. So today we saw that Gopakumar, he became the king, but he was not very happy. And then he is hearing about Jagannath Puri. So this is what we saw today. He came to the kingdom, he saw very opulent worship, and then he thought, that's it, this is what I want to see. But his heart was still in Braja, he was remembering those things. And then he wanted to do that worship personally. So God gave him the opportunity to become the king. And he became king, and he was so fed up with his own position. Even though he was able to personally worship the Lord, he was not satisfied. Then now he is hearing about the glories of Shityatra Dhama, Puri Dhama. It's going to take him there. Okay, so since there are no questions, no comments, we'll stop here. We'll stop here for the
Thank you, Prabhu. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for a wonderful class, Prabhuji. A couple of quick questions that you read, because I was listening, I wasn't following the book, where it says advise not to take political interest or active participation in politics.
Yeah.
Whose commentary was it?
Oh, this is Gopi Pandal Prabhu's commentary. This commentary, what we are reading, this commentary is from Gopi Pandal Prabhu.
Okay. And is that in line with Prabhupada's directions? Because Prabhupada encouraged going into Vaishnavas to go into management positions and in powers of position.
He's not talking about management, he's talking about politics.
Yeah, but presumably politics includes...
That specific comments talk about
going affairs, etc. And therefore Prabhupada encouraged that, did he not? And saying that...
No, Prabhupada did not encourage devotees directly getting into politics. Actually, initially, some devotees wanted to make a political party, and then they made a political party also called as In God We Trust political party. Then later, when Prabhupada saw that that is not actually what he wants, and that's not giving the result what he wanted, and that's not what he wants, then Prabhupada immediately discouraged people from this. He said, don't get into politics. That's not for devotees, don't get into politics. So there was a short stint where Prabhupada actually encouraged people to get into politics, but he quickly reversed his stand. What Prabhupada encouraged was to actually preach to politicians and then make them devotees, which we should preach to anybody in any case. So the particular statement is not saying that we should not preach to politicians. The particular statement is simply saying that we should not get into politics, management of a country. It doesn't say that we should not get into management. It's not a blanket statement that we should not get into management. It's just a statement which says that we should not get into management of a particular country. That's okay. That's more or less what Prabhupada said. It's not a deviation from what Prabhupada said. Does it satisfy you?
Yes, Prabhu. So by implication means that in this age, a Vaishnava cannot effectively get into a position of power in politics to run a country in a dharmic or Vaishnavic way if a Vaishnava should not be getting into politics. Therefore, there's no hope.
No, the point is, a politician can become Vaishnava. A Vaishnava should not become politician. That's the point. So we can preach to politician.
But the implication is that as soon as a politician becomes a Vaishnava, he will stop being a politician and leave politics.
That's exactly not the implication. It's not that implication. It doesn't say like that. He doesn't say that those who are in politics, they should leave politics. It doesn't say like that. That's not the implication. At least my understanding is that that's not the implication. It says that we should not endeavor to get into politics. See, what happened with Gopakumar is that he was not the king. Okay, his intention was also not to become the king. Okay, his only intention was that he wanted to actually go and worship the deity very personally, just like the king was worshipping the deity. He wanted to worship the deity personally. Okay, but somehow or other, it looks as if he decided to be the king in order to worship the deity personally, and that is not correct. So in the commentary also, that's what it is said. Discriminating Vaishnavas may better off uninvolved in the management of kingdoms. So this is what he is saying, that we should not actively get into managing a kingdom. The king himself was a Vaishnava and he did not face any problem because he was by nature Kshatriya. He knew how to deal with different problems and he was successfully dealing with those problems. And he had also organized elaborate worship of the Vishnu deity. And that was what was told by the Brahmana. When the king was described, he was described as being very great devotee and very much attached to worship of the king, worship of Vishnu, etc. So my understanding is that a person who is a politician, when he becomes a devotee, then he can continue with his politics, but with proper understanding of what should be done in politics. But a devotee should not, for some reason, get into politics. Like sometimes a devotee may think, oh, if I become a politician, then I can do a lot of service to ISKCON. And I know practically devotees who have thought like that and who have also got into politics. I know this. They're not big in number, but a few of them, they had such thought process and they got into politics. And then the first casualty is their Krishna consciousness. They don't get time to chant their rounds. They just get drawn into the whole thing about politics, and whole life completely changes for them. So that's what here the commentator is saying, that we should not, a devotee should not enter into politics. It's not that a politician, when he becomes devotee, he should give up politics. That he may give up or he may not give up, that's up to him. But is not recommended for a devotee to get into politics. But we should preach to politicians like we preach to anybody. Why politicians should not be preached to? We should preach to everyone. So in everyone, politician is also included. I don't know if that still satisfies you or.
Thank you, Prabhu. May I ask a second question as well?
Yes, please. No problem.
In terms of prasadam, I presume the benediction is for all Mahaprasadam as opposed to just Jagannath Mahaprasadam, or is it more specific to Jagannath Prasad?
These glories which have been, some of the glories which are described were actually Vishnu Prasad. We actually read two sections. One section is about the Supreme Lord's Mahaprasad. Okay, it is not specifically about Jagannath Prasad. Like for example, the Brahat Vishnu Purana description is just about the Prasad of the Supreme Lord. It is not about Jagannath Prasad. And that also has the same things. one should not never question whether the remnants of the food and drink offered to the Lord of Universe is fit or unfit to eat. One should never make such distinction. Prasad is incorruptible as the Vedic mantra of Lord Vishnu himself. They should, those who consider Lord Prasad as eatable or uneatable suffer leprosy. They will lose their children, wife, and they'll go to hell, never to return. All these things which is explained, this is all about Vishnu Prasad. This is not about specifically about Jagannath Prasad. Then later we also specifically heard about the glories of Jagannath Prasad. So if you compare both, then we find that no Vishnu Prasad should be questioned.
What do we do in practical terms where we are materially conditioned, and if the Mahaprasadam given to you happens to be putrefying or sort of got fungi growth on it? I mean, we should clearly see it's spiritual, but would it be wise to consume that regardless of health implications? Or should we be sensible and practical about these things? How do we treat situations where Mahaprasad may be putrefying when it's given to you? What do you do about that?
So first of all, two levels of answer to this. If we get large quantity of Mahaprasad, we should not keep it. We should immediately distribute to everybody. When it is good, when it is nice, when it is not purified, just give it to everybody. Don't keep anything. Don't bring to a situation where Mahaprasad becomes spoiled or purified, etc. This is point number one. Many times devotees just hold on to Prasad and then the Prasad becomes purified or it becomes rotten or whatever it is, and then they don't know what to do with it. Then they become so much mental about it. So the first thing to do is when you get Prasad, distribute. This is the first mood. Whenever we lay hands on Prasad, just distribute. Just give it to everybody and you also take little. Then there is no problem. Everything is distributed nicely. But if we do get purified Prasad, then at least we should follow the style of Raghunath Das Goswami. What Raghunath Das Goswami did, he actually went, he washed the Prasad in water and then which actually removed all the putrefied portion and things like that. And then he had some little bit amount. He didn't take the entire, there was so much of putrefied rice which even the cows would not eat. But Raghunath Das Goswami would take a very small quantity of that and then he would eat. So like that, we may take a very small portion, a very small piece of that putrefied prasad, very small piece, and then we may nicely wash it in water and then just honor that for the sake of honoring it. That's what we can do.
Thank you, Prabhu. What would you do with the rest of the portion of the...
We did not eat the whole lot.
What should we do with the rest of the portion of the Mahaprasad?
We can give it to animals to eat. If animals are there, we can give it to animals to eat. Or if it can be put for ants to take it, then there are animals or ants which actually will consume it. In Mayapur, it is very easy. Mayapur is full of ants. So even if some little bit of things fall down, the ants will come and take it. It need not be, even normally also. You keep anything open, ants will come. Mayapur, we have so much of ants. It's like we are living in some of like, looks like, we are living in some ant country. So we don't have so much problem. So if you actually give it to the ants or give it to some other animals, if it is possible, we should just give them to consume. So they will consume and they can get the benefit of having prasad.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
In general, the idea is we should not allow prasad to deteriorate. We should just distribute it. That's the best thing to do. If we are in charge of distributing prasad, if we find some excess prasad is there, then just freely distribute it. That's it. Don't allow it to stay back and become putrefied. Okay. Any other question? Okay. Seems no other question. So we'll stop here. Bhagavatamrita ki jai, Sanatana Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gopi Prabhu ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Thank you very much. See you next week.